2024 final. That is a way to finish out a Monday night game. Along with my friend Steve Weich, Mike Ham with you. Welcome inside our NFL Network newsroom. It is game day final. This was wild. And I know that wasn't a catch from Puka. He's the best wide receiver in the NFL.
I mean, it was insane, the play that he almost made. But A.J. Terrell, the cornerback right there who knocked the ball free, great coverage on Puka all night. Didn't let him or Matthew Stafford get going. This Atlanta Falcons defense came to play. Now the Rams damaged their playoff hopes to their second consecutive loss after a long break after a Thursday night game to come back and open a game where they fell behind 21-0. The rally, yeah, it was exciting, but it is not something that they wanted to go into the playoffs knowing that they're one of the favorite teams in the NFC.
No question. There was a time this season we felt like the Rams were the best team in the NFL. Now we have some questions, and seeding will matter. They get a date with Arizona in week number 18. One other note here is you sort of dissect the end of this game from a Rams perspective. They had opportunities here, and I think you got to give some credit to the Falcons for the game and what they did defensively. But Matthew Stafford, in what was a performance that wasn't his best, his lowest passer rating for him this season, 3 interceptions, still kept this team alive.
Yeah, but he had Xavier Smith wide open right here, and Xavier Smith would have taken that to the house for the game winner. Now Stafford goes to 2-2 Atwell. This was a DPI. You could see the DB pull down on his left arm, would not allow that left arm free, but that was missed. And then here we talk about this incredible throw to Puka Nacua, but A.J. Terrell pulled it down right there on the sideline, separated the hand just long enough from that incredible grip by Puka as to where it was ruled incomplete. And then again, the final play on 4th down when they try to do it, an incomplete pass. Drama, but again, unnecessary drama, except this guy Bijan Robinson, who we have yet to mention, went absolutely off for the Atlanta Falcons.
You know, we joke, I joke a lot when we're watching the games. And I always talk about the key play that we start the show off with, and I always say, oh, you know, it's going to be this from the first half, when clearly there's these dramatic moments that happen late. There was a point, though, legitimately, I was like, oh, these Bijan plays, that's going to be a key play at the end of the night. They were 21-0, and he's just rolling this squad. Clearly that didn't happen because the Rams made a comeback, but his performance, it was spectacular.
Absolutely insane. Has a 93-yard touchdown run to get them to 21-0 after a Jesse Bates pick 6. But Bijan Robinson rushes for almost 200 yards, has 34 yards receiving. But play after play that he made, especially on the Falcons' decisive game-winning drive, when he runs for about 4 or 5 yards for a clutch first down, that was significant to set them up for field goal position to allow them to win it. But over and over again, Bijan Robinson, the best player we don't talk enough about because he's on a team with a losing record, showed why he is, as his head coach says, the best player in the NFL. Some people may argue that, but he clearly is the most explosive, most exciting, and the most dangerous.
Yeah, on the flip side, once again, and I know this team's going to be watching the postseason, the Falcons, despite the fact that they pick up a 3rd win. This is a Rams team. What am I supposed to do with this performance from Matthew Stafford?
Well, I mean, you know, the people who came in this game wondering if he's going to be able to wrap up the MVP tonight. He didn't, okay, because he came out, and you're seeing him early on. He just didn't. He wasn't feeling it. This was late in the game, right? He had made some spectacular plays before this, but early in the game, again, the pick 6 to Jesse Bates. He has 3 overall interceptions. He did not look comfortable at all in the first half. That was in large part to the Falcons' defensive backs being very sticky on his receivers, plus breakdowns on the offensive line. DJ Humphrey starting at left tackle really had a rough night. Stafford did not seem to trust a lot of what was going on around him, and the mistakes he made throughout the game, including on that final drive where he missed some open deep threats.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something. He's still going to be in the hunt for the MVP, but he really struggled tonight, and he's one of the reasons why the Rams did not win this ball game.
All right, big picture this, though, because you were in Seattle a little while ago and watched this Rams team fall short against the Seahawks, who might be your #1 seed in the NFC. Still some more to play for, and we'll dissect that coming up in just a bit here. But what am I supposed to do when I assess what happened in that matchup and then the first half of this game coupled with a comeback that I did see from the Rams in the second half?
The first thing you have to assess is what's going on with this defense. Before the game, I did not seem like I was that concerned because I thought it was an anomaly that Seattle was able to hit some explosive plays. But then Bijan Robinson comes out and hits explosive play in the run game again. In fact, the 93-yard touchdown run to make it 21-0 was almost a carbon copy of what Kenneth Walker did against the Seattle Seahawks. And so you're seeing it right here. Missed tackle, someone misses a gap, then he's just got the speed, right? They had too much pressure at the line of scrimmage. You're not going to catch it. Again, Kenneth Walker had the same type of run against this defense. Then Matthew Stafford come, right before that, had given up a pick 6 that allowed them to get some momentum, and then just easy touchdown to Bijan Robinson right here. Now, Bijan Robinson is incredible. He just made some unbelievable plays like this. Very shady McCoy, cut on dime-ish, the breakaway speed, then the power that he also showed throughout the game. But again, this Rams defense, you have to be a little bit concerned. Now, Matthew Stafford followed up a great game with a shaky game tonight, so you're not going to put too much on him. But they've got to get their heads right now. Okay, it took a big special teams play to get them back into the game. That's what cost them against the Seahawks. But overall, to come out after a long rest and start the game the way that they did today, they were not focused. They cannot afford to have that in these playoffs.
All right, so what happened in the second half in this run for them?
Well, second half, I mean, they come out right after halftime. They kick a field goal. Okay, great. Feel good to get some points after converting on a 4th down previously on the drive. Then they get another touchdown, to pull to 24-10. That was on the Terrence Ferguson, the tight end pass right here. Beautiful. Now this offense is rolling, right? Yeah. This is how they're supposed to look. Bang. Jared Verse up the middle, number 8, blocks it, picks it up, gets on the horse. This is the special teams play that swung the momentum. Now it's 24-17 as Jared Verse also hit the deuces to the Falcons sideline on the way. The Puka Nacua on the screen is getting the wide receiver and tight end clean up, ties it up right here. They've got all the momentum going, and then on their next drive, they get stunted. Right, they get stifled right there, and that's what stalled it. Again, Matthew Stafford had some struggles on that drive. So you saw, like, the fight of a champion, the rally of a champion, but they dug themselves too much of a hole, and Matthew Stafford just did not look comfortable facing a defensive coordinator and our head coach, and Raheem Morris, who was defensive coordinator for the Rams, who knew a lot of what Sean McVay wanted to do.
Look, the Rams offensively, this is going to be their calling card, being able to score and score quickly. And obviously, Devontae Adams doesn't play in this game. And Puka does have some good moments and some penalties that were really costly. Yes. 3 different plays that would have went for 30-plus yards that were called back and negated because of penalties. That's a problem in terms of the execution here. I still look at what this team could potentially do, seeding being a real factor here. And at least in my mind, going on the road to either Philly or Chicago, that's potentially an issue for them.
It's what they don't want to do. I don't think they fear either one of those teams, but as we've seen, like we saw last year in the playoffs, and they went to Philadelphia, weather was an issue. They were playing great against the Eagles. They had them, and then the ball security got a little sloppy when they got in the snow. And then going to Chicago, they're facing a Ben Johnson. They would be facing a Ben Johnson offense that had given them problems when he was coaching with Detroit. So they don't want to do that. Ideally, they would like to get the number 5 seed and play the winner of the NFC South. But now you have to start thinking. In Week 18, they play the Arizona Cardinals. They may just kind of say, you know what, we're going to wave the white flag, so to speak, when it comes to seeding and rest our players and get fully healthy and get our heads right and play whomever we must, because we're going to have to travel either way. So we'll see what happens in Week 18, what they want to do and how they approach it. I would at least play my players for a while to get themselves functionally operative after the way that they collapsed in Seattle in the second half and how poorly they started in the first half against the Falcons tonight. 2 road games. Remember, they're going to have to go on the road to start the playoffs as well.
Do they still scare you?
Rams?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. You got Matthew Stafford, arguably the best quarterback in the NFL. Kyren Williams had some good runs tonight, and defensively they can still make plays. They're just not getting to the quarterback or getting the pressures in the secondary that they were getting earlier this year. But you better believe they got Puka Nacua. They got, again, Kyren Williams. If they get Alaric Jackson back at left tackle, that's going to solidify things up front a little bit. This is still one of the best teams in the NFL, but they have some very big mistakes that they've got to fix, especially some of their run fits on defense to limit those explosives.
I guess my issue is I look at a level of confidence that you have going into the postseason. We always say you want to play your best ball late. For a good stretch, I would say 75% of the season. I thought they were the best team in the league.
Sure.
And now they've dropped 3 out of their 5. I think about that game in Seattle, the way that played out. This game against the Falcons team that's on the back end, this is what concerns me. The Niners are surging right now.
Yep.
I feel good about Seattle. I think you can make an argument Chicago still scares you a little bit, especially if you have to go there. Philly's still Philly. I don't know. To me, there seems like there's some weakness.
They clearly are not, Mike, they're not playing their best football. Yeah. They're not playing their best football, but they do need to tighten things up very quickly, which is why I'm wondering if they're going to play their guys in Week 18.
All right, speaking of Week 18, we'll